welcome to this week's Wellness Webcast. I am Mo Wolf, your host, your compadre, your saddle pal, and all-around good guy. Harmless, lovable little fuzzball that I am, although I did shave this morning. I'm also CEO of Little Honeys LLC, the makers of Bee Energy Raw Bee Pollen Products and Bee Rescue Propolis Care. This is the Wellness Webcast. This is that time of the week where we sit down and we discuss things health, wellness, and beautiful living related, because the three flow into one another. They're all synergistic. They all work together. Joined by Mr. Sadler here in the studio, our official program observer. We've got Julius down the hall engineering this whole thing. The staff is across the hall in the lab making toothpaste as we speak. It's a beautiful, crisp fall day. The sun is shining. It's just a glorious day to be alive. And as you know, as this is the Wellness Webcast, we pick a wellness topic every week. This week, our wellness topic is boosting the immunity system and tips and tricks for staying healthy. We're now officially in the autumn season, and we are at that time of year in traditional Chinese medicine where we start seeing a lot of lung dryness. Western medicine, they'd say a lot of fall allergies, a lot of seasonal colds. See? A little bit of a dry cough, unproductive cough. A little bit of a weaker, hoarse voice. Well, like an idiot, I caught myself a cold this week. A friend of mine gave me an asthma treatment on Monday. Went out to the car. She had done some shoe points in my back with some needles. And like a total doofus, I didn't put the top back on the car, and so I drove home in that wind and picked myself up a brutal cold. Fortunately, I'm on the mend. I'm practicing what I preach and kicking this cold's hind end. It's not a German cold. If it were a German cold, we'd say I'd be kicking its hiney, but it's not. It's an American cold, so I'm kicking its hind end. If it were an educated American cold, I'd be kicking its posterior. But that's neither here nor there. Anyway, Mr. Sadler is shaking his head. Anyway, don't end up like me. Don't get a cold. Use discretion. But every once in a while, we do make lapses. We do make mistakes in our personal care and wellness regimen. Sometimes you do just got to put the top down and enjoy a beautiful evening. And then the consequences to pay for that are maybe a little bit of a cold. However, when you do get a cold, or when you do get the flu this season, or when you do feel just like the udders on a snake, and I use that as a reference because how can you feel any lower than the udders on a snake? I ask you. That's pretty rough. So when you start feeling like those udders on a snake, what are you going to do about it? Well, this episode we're going to give you some tips and tricks on how to get yourself back on your feet very quickly. Y'all ready to go? Mr. Sadler, he is seated upright. Tray table up, his seatbelt is on, he is ready for takeoff. So let's go. Drum roll, please. We're low budget here. Number one, we are coming up on that cold and flu season. So how do we go about staying healthy? Well, first thing that comes to mind for many people when we talk about boosting the immune system is take your vitamin C. Okay, great. But how are you getting that vitamin C? Well, I'll get mine in a chewable vitamin. It's shaped like Dino the dinosaur. No. Okay, here's the thing. If you are taking a vitamin that's shaped like, a cartoon character, an animal that you chew up and, mine tastes like grape, mine tastes like cherry, odds are it's loaded with what we affectionately call yuck. Y-U-C-K. Or if you want to abbreviate it, Y-U-K. Yuck. And I'm not talking about the way your Uncle Louie laughs. Yuck, yuck, yuck. I'm talking about the stuff that you scrape out of the bot. You get my picture. Anyway, most of those vitamin pills that are tasting like candy, they're yucky. We have no business putting those things in our bodies. Between the food dyes that are in them, some of the flavoring, the artificial flavoring, on top of that you've got very little nutritive value coming from those chewable vitamins. So then that leaves us with those big vitamin pills that are extremely hard, and you take them and you swallow them with about 5 gallons of water. The vitamin goes under the bridge, the water goes over the bridge, and they meet on the other side. Well, that's only if you have a bridge. But the problem with those guys is they're held together with some extremely powerful bonding structural agents, oftentimes cellulose. What is cellulose? Whee! This is cellulose paper. They grind it up. They put moisture with it. They put all of the ingredients of the vitamin in it. Sometimes some silica, and they compress it all together and they dry it out, and you end up with something that's lifeless and hard, and your body has to work overtime just to process it and get some nutritive value out of it. And then in the end, it just passes, if you catch my drift, and you end up with a vitamin in, a vitamin out. Especially for those people who have severely depleted and deficient digestive systems. It's not uncommon for some of you to be able to take a vitamin pill and have it come out the backside in the exact same condition that it went through. My point is, these vitamin pills are very, very hard to digest. They take all kinds of energy from the digestive system to process. So what's a better way? Well, a better way to boost your immune system, and the way that God intended, is for us to get all of our nutrition through our diet, to get plenty of sleep. Yes, I said sleep, and I know you're not going to like this. But you shouldn't be staying up all hours of the night watching TV. You shouldn't be staying up all hours of the night, period. We should be getting our bodies in a rhythm. That circadian, that whole concept of a circadian rhythm. Excuse me. If we are getting the right amount of rest, if we are eating the right amount of nutrition, and the last point is exercise. If we're getting the right amount of exercise and the right kind of exercise. I know one fellow who is famous for over-exercising. I'm not talking about that. The guy goes out there and he'll go to the gym and he will work out like a dog. And then he'll come back and he'll say, "Oh, I think I hurt my shoulder. I think I popped a hernia. I think my knee is in bad shape." Well, you do the examination and sure enough, he's caused himself structural damage because he worked too hard. I'm not talking about that kind of exercise. And I'm not talking about this kind of exercise. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about correct exercise. Doing your Qigong exercises. Anybody that's watched, any of you that have watched any of these videos know that I'm a very big proponent of Qigong. Diet, sleep, doing your exercise. These things working in harmony and used in moderation will help increase your immune system. And you know what? We could take all kinds of time and build our case for this, showing you studies that have been done to just back up my claims here about how diet, sleep, and exercise are going to help boost your immune system. But I think that'd be a waste of time because we've got more important stuff to talk about. And I know a couple of you are saying, we want that information. Then Google it. Google it. Hey. Diet. How are you going to increase your immune system with diet? Well, remember good old Mrs. Morales. Anybody who has watched any of these episodes has probably heard me reference her before, especially when I talk about bee pollen, when good old Mrs. Morales used to tell us, you eat a good food, you don't get sick. Well, that's the whole concept of eating a good balanced diet that's giving you all of the nutrients that you need so that your body can do what it's supposed to do, so that way you have a strong immune system. Well, I don't like the idea of taking supplements at all. I don't mind taking prescription medication when there's a need for it, a legitimate need for it. I don't mind taking herbal prescriptions. Subscriptions, my goodness, it sounds like I'm getting a copy of Popular Mechanics. I don't mind taking herbal prescriptions, thank you very much, if they're necessary. But by and large, if the body is getting the nutrients that it needs from its diet, there'll be very little need for prescription medication. There'll be very little need for herbal remedies, supplements of any kind. Enter in bee pollen. This stuff right here. And you've heard me talk about it many times. Remember, there's all of the vitamins and minerals, amino acids, proteins, everything you need to survive on right here in these beautiful golden nuggets. And they're a true gift. Just two of those little nuggets in there. Look how tiny those are. Excuse me. Just two of those little guys takes about 72 minutes for the bees to collect and bring in. That makes, for just this 3.5 ounces, that makes this 3.5 ounces a real treasure. Excuse me. That wind cold. Wind cold and lung dryness. At any rate, if you're eating this bee pollen and you're getting all of those nutrients that you need, and you're eating a good diet, not what we typically eat as in this country, high processed foods, high processed starch, high processed sugars, fats, trans fats, all this garbage stuff. If you're living on frozen pizza, you're not doing your immune system any favors. You're not doing yourself any favors. If you're living on Pop-Tarts and ramen noodle, are you listening, college students? Diet is key. Hippocrates used to say, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. You can do a lot just with diet. And a good medical physician will bear me out on that. They'll say, yeah, you can cure a lot of problems in the body just with diet. So, what happens when we're taking these bad foods in, these high processed, highly refined sugars and starches and fats, is oftentimes we're creating a perfect storm of events within the body. We're taking the body and we're forcing it to try to convert these extremely difficult substances into food energy. Transforming that Pop-Tart or what have you into, I don't know why Pop-Tarts are on my mind, trying to transform that yucky stuff into glucose in the bloodstream. But the problem is there's all kinds of other stuff attached onto it, and it ends up going into the body, and the body's working overtime already, and then you've got this bad stuff going in there causing inflammation, and the body says, aha! And it starts attacking itself, and you end up, well, that's why you end up with such autoimmune disorders as gluten sensitivity and celiac disease. You end up with certain other autoimmune type issues. You end up with things like Crohn's disease because you're eating foods that turn into inflammation within the body starts attacking itself. That perfect storm of events. Now think on a much more superficial level. We're trying to stay healthy to get through fall, autumn if you're from the New England states, northeast, I just ticked them all off. To get through fall and winter and back into spring with minimizing how much we get sick, if we're eating the right diet, that's going to go a long way in keeping us healthy and keeping us from getting sick, boosting that immune system. Number 2, sleep. Getting enough sleep. The body was designed to, and no, I don't want to get into a cosmological argument with anybody. I did say designed, and there's a reason I said it. Address all your complaint letters to mo@silomcenter.com. I said the body was designed, and I meant just that way. The body was designed to require time to rest. Relax and rest, build up. What does R&R stand for? I'm drawing a mental blank. Rest and relaxation. Thank you, Julius. The body was designed to need rest and relaxation, and it was designed to need a certain amount every day. Whoa, can you hear the train going by? We're on the good side of the tracks, at least that's what we tell everybody on the other side. When you don't get enough rest, your body starts having to pull from its reserves. In Chinese medicine, we say you're starting to deplete your qi energy. Oftentimes it shows up in a spleen qi deficiency because you've been feeding your body the wrong stuff, you've been overtaxing your body, and your spleen qi energy becomes depleted. From a root standpoint, the root problem is you're burning all of that reserve energy in the body that's stored as kidney essence, and you've burned the candle at both ends for so long, and now you're an adrenal gland fatigue nightmare, and your body just has nothing left to give. So that's on one extreme of the scale. The minor scale is you've stayed up late for 2 weeks in a row, you've gotten up early, you've been working hard, you've taken care of the family, doing your daily routine, and now you're exhausted, and somebody in your office sneezes, and that sneeze comes out at incredibly fast speeds, and you've got all this water droplets from the saliva and from the nasal mucosa that's carrying the virus, and it's now airborne. And it's insidious, and it's now going into the ducts. And you're sitting on the other end of the office in your cubicle thinking, I hate that guy, he just sneezed. And 14 days later, what do you have? You're talking like this because your sinuses are full, and you go, ah! And you sneeze. Hopefully you've got a little more class, and you cover your mouth, and you achoo. Anyway, the point being is, there are people all around us that are vectors of these diseases. Colds, flu. Some of them are pretty serious. So serious, in fact, that you had the influenza outbreak in the last century. You've got the swine flu that scares everybody every year now. You've got the bird flu that scares everybody every year. I'm waiting for a giraffe flu, Norman. When are we going to get rid of these domestic, these simple, basic flus? Let's have something exotic like a giraffe flu. I want a flu that's going to give me a longer neck, a little bit taller. I want to quit having to wear lifts in my shoes. That was an attempt at humor. Any complaints for humor, you can send them to mo@silomecenter.com. People are vectors of these diseases. If we're living our lives well, we're coming in contact with these people, and we should be coming in physical contact with these people, touching, patting them on the back, shaking hands, embracing them. Because life is too long of a journey to have to go through life without any kind of physical contact. Life is too long and hard of a journey to have to go through life without someone looking you in the eye, smiling, and just communicating through that body language, hey, I care about you, I'm here. So if we are living our lives beautifully, we should be communicating to each other this caring, this nurturing, just through our daily activity. So that said, we're going to be coming in contact with these vectors of diseases, these people. Oh, but you know what? We got to come in contact with them. So let's boost our immune system. Let's make sure we're eating good foods so we don't get sick. Let's make sure we're getting the right amount of sleep. Let's be disciplined about our lives so that we can be a blessing to others. There's purpose now to living. I want to have purpose to my life. Well, now you have it. Be a blessing to someone in your life. Be a blessing to someone in your world. We've talked about changing society around us on this webcast many times. You know how you do that? You do that by choosing to be a blessing right here, right now. Quit being someone that looks for the negative. Quit being someone that looks for ways to tear down. Instead, appreciate what you have, appreciate what's in front of you, and look for ways to help out. Look for ways to be a blessing. Now, these are basic, simple things, but they're so essential. This is called living, folks. This is called living beautifully. There's a difference between being physically healthy and having the experience of wellness. I know some people who are dealing with some very chronic disease right now. And you know what? From a physiological standpoint, I know what's going on in their bodies, and there's a war raging. But I also know what's going on in their emotional, in their heart. And I know that they're some of the most balanced, healthy people I know. It's called joy. Consider it pure joy when you go through trials and temptations of every kind. So we have diet, we have sleep. We also need to discuss exercise. Mr. Sadler, we have 7.5 minutes left for exercise. Are you getting enough exercise? Why is exercise important? Because exercise moves the blood. Blood is what carries those hormones through the body to help stimulate different glands. Blood is what carries that nutrition throughout the body. Blood is what carries the oxygen through the body to the cells and carries the glucose to the cells so that those Langerhans cells in the skin can be stimulated and nourished, and so that you can have better immunity. Aha! So that your body has energy to be able to process the glucose in the mitochondria of the cells to produce the ATP, the adenosine triphosphate, so that you have something with which to function with the active transport of those cells to get good stuff in, to get rid of waste. All of this is essential. This is basic metabolism of the human body on a cellular level, and it's so vital to your wellness. Without it, you don't have immunity to disease. Without it, you don't have life. And so, by increasing our blood circulating through our body, we're burning up the fats. We're burning some of that excess fuel that's there. Oh, you mean weight loss? Yeah, we're touching on weight loss a little bit here, I guess you could say. You're also getting pockets of inflammation that are sitting in there, and you're changing the blood out, and you're getting those macrophages to go in there and start cleaning up and repairing damage. A dear friend and mentor of mine once told me, hey, if you've got somebody with a shoulder injury and their physician has put them on limited use for that shoulder, oh, I hate it when that happens. Get them on an exercise bike. Get those people pumping their blood, getting their heart rate up, so that way there's blood pumping through that injured site, so that way the injury is nourished and can repair. Immunity happens the same way. You need that blood moving through the body. You need that blood carrying all the good stuff to the cells, each and every cell, to help strengthen and bolster that body's defenses, and also to get rid of all of the waste. Because if we have pockets of waste sitting in our body, then what that becomes is, well, pockets of toxicity, which then becomes an addition to that perfect storm. Now, we mentioned eating the raw bee pollen product for helping to boost your immunity. Something else I want you to do. Get your hands on some of this. This is Bee Rescued Propolis Care Rescue Balm. It's gluten-free. Smells wonderful. I want you to get your hands on some of this. You can get your hands on it at beerescued.com, beerescued.com. You can get it at smallflower.com. You can get it at iherb.com. You can get it at azurestandard.com. All kinds of .coms. You can get it at Hy-Vee grocery stores, Sprouts Farmers Markets. Just get it, because what I want you to do is I want you to take this stuff and I want you to put it around your lymph nodes, under the arms, behind the knees, in the groin, and on your feet. Well, why would I want you to do that? Because in these areas, there's a lot of capillaries close to the skin, and that skin just absorbs it in, and you will get all of the goodness of the virgin coconut oil and the propolis and those essential oils that are in here, and that will help to boost the body's immune system, and that will help to strengthen and nourish the body. So that way your body has a fighting chance when Pasquale down the hall sneezes and or you're on an airplane and the guy down the hall right next to down the airplane right next to the rebreather sneezes and then infects everybody in the airplane with his cold. This is going to help. You get yourself dry nose, especially at this time of year. Get yourself some of our Bee Rescued lip balm. Take a little bit of it and put inside the nose. If you do get a cold, again, put this rescue balm under arms, groin, knees, feet, and neck. Have someone put it on your chest and on your back. Let it nourish and get into the body. These are just simple little tricks. Something else you can do if you have sinuses that are all plugged up, you can get yourself an orange peel. Or if you really want to be exotic, you wear the fruit bowl on your hair like Lola Falana, and you get a little bit of orange oil. Put a drop of orange oil in a cotton ball. Roll it up so that the orange oil doesn't come in contact with your skin, and stuff it in your nose. It's called a nose stuffer. But what that's going to do is that oil is going to go up and it's going to help break up that mucosa. You start feeling a cold coming on. You start feeling the flu coming on. Get thee to an acupuncturist. They have modalities and methods to help boost your immune system and get you through that course of that virus very quickly. Very quickly. The general course, average course of a cold is approximately 14 or 15 days. You get on the right Chinese herbs, get the right acupuncture treatment, use this stuff around your lymph nodes, very absorbent parts of the body. Eat your bee pollen, and you're going to kick the hind end on that cold. Going to kick the hind end on that flu much quicker. If it's a German cold or a German flu, you will kick its hiney, yeah. I just embarrassed Norman. We're at the 30-minute mark, which means we have to wind it in. I want to thank you for joining us. And on behalf of all of us here at Little Honeys, be well.